Hello, welcome back to a rather chilly Germany, and today I'm talking about the driver, when you should take it and when you should leave it in the bag. If you've been watching the channel recently, then you know I've been working with an app called Decade. And Decade is helping me to understand when I should be taking a driver off the tee and when I should leave it in the bag. And this has also helped me to help my students make that decision as well. Decade, if you don't know, is an app which has been developed by a guy called Scott Fawcett. Scott basically analysed Mark Brody's work in Every Shot Counts, or strokes gained as it's better known, and basically came to the conclusion that the golf professionals aren't hitting the golf ball straight either. But they actually do know this, and they are actually planning that into their strategy on the golf course. So what is it exactly that they're doing in order to hit more fairways? Well, the truth is, the first thing they're doing is not trying to hit more fairways. They're trying to hit the golf course. I think a lot of us are out there basically trying to hit the center of the fairway instead of just trying to get it on the golf course. There's lots of advantages with the driver. The driver hits the ball further than any other club in the bag, and that will definitely give you an advantage on a round of golf or in a round of golf, but not if it's out of bounds, not if you're getting penalty shots. And that is really the only reason you shouldn't be taking a driver, if you're going to get a penalty shot. Or should we say the likelihood of you getting a penalty shot is very big. So how would you make the decision? Well, very simply, Scott's found out that if you actually measure the width of a hole on a golf course, on average there's around about 65 yards from left to right. What he also found out from Mark Brody is that is more or less the dispersion of a professional golfer with a driver. That means that they're hitting the ball over 30 yards right and left from where they're actually aiming. Yes, and that means that they are only human. In fact, if you think back, you have seen Tiger in the trees, you've seen Rory in the water, you've seen Dustin missing fairways, but you've always thought, well, that's the exception rather than the rule. And in truth, especially if you look at some of the ways they align, you will actually see the golf ball is landing a long way away from where they're actually aligned to when they're playing golf. But they are not, or rather, they are rarely getting penalty shots when they use a driver, because they know when they can use a driver and when they can't use a driver. In the distance that they hit the golf ball, if the dispersion doesn't allow them 65 yards right to left, they'll probably leave the driver in the bag. And this is basically exactly the same for you. Now, you might only be hitting the driver 200 yards. You might even be only hitting it 150 yards. But the first thing you've got to do is find yourself an instructor that keeps your dispersion not down to a fairway width, but down to around about 65 yards. And then you've just got to find out, does the golf course give you enough room to hit your driver on any given hole? Now, if you decide to subscribe to the app, then the app will help you find this out. It uses Google Maps to actually measure widths of golf holes and at different distances that you want to hit it. Now, this is not a sales presentation for Scott's app. On the contrary, the reason that I am doing it is because I want you to play better golf in 2022 than you did in 2021. And I am absolutely convinced that Scott's app will help you. But if you don't want to pay for the app, then you can simply go on to Google Maps. That's right. Open your browser, put in a golf club of your choice, and a map will open up. If you click on the map and the satellite view, you can actually zoom into the hole and you can measure the width of fairways. Right-click on the map and there will be a little list of things you can do, and usually at the bottom it will ask you if you want to measure anything. Click on that and one dot will appear. Click in another place on the map and a second dot will appear with a distance between the two dots. You can now pull those around until you get to the distance from the tee that you are likely to hit it, and then measure how much room you have. Try and ignore the fairways, even the bunkers, and look at how much distance do you have between hazards which are going to cost you a penalty shot. Water, out of bounds, such things. And if you've got 65 yards of dispersion available to you, then get the driver out. It is definitely far better to be 50 yards further down the fairway or even in the rough than 50 yards shorter on the fairway or in the rough. And taking an iron in order to be sure of hitting it doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to hit the fairway. It might have a little less dispersion than your driver, but it is no guarantee that you're going to hit it great every time. So once you've actually done this, you can go through any golf course you want and be prepared, know in advance which club you should be hitting. And obviously, if you find that your dispersion on a day is worse or better than usual, you might be able to change your decision. It is possible that the weather will play a role. If it's very windy, you might have to aim differently or even change the point where the ball is landing because you've got wind with or wind against, and therefore on one hole you may be able to take a driver where you weren't able to in normal conditions. On other hole you might have to leave it in the bag. But again, it's all about having a plan. And when you go to a drive with the feeling in your head, really, I don't have to hit the fairway here, I just have to hit the golf course, it's amazing how much freer your golf swing is. How little you actually have to think about what you're doing, because it's not about, oh goodness, hopefully I can get it on the short grass. It's about, look at all that room, let's give it a blast. As Scott says, just send it. Believe you me, getting a plan is one of the main things to make you a better golfer. Understanding your dispersion is going to make you a better golfer. Get out next season and make the driver your favorite golf club. Practice the drive more than any other golf club in the bag, and you will see the shots tumble off your handicap. Forget hitting fairways and start hitting golf courses. It's quite okay if your drive goes in the bunker now and again, because a lot more often it's going to actually land on the short grass. And if you get it anywhere on the golf course where you can hit it again, that's usually not such a bad shot. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, please do so. For all of my patrons, once again, thanks very much for your support. If you would like to become a patron to the site, I shall leave a link below, along with a link to the Decade app and a promotional code for you to get a discount. Until next time, I wish you all the very best, and we'll see you soon.